what bothers me so much is when I go to the masjid, and may Allah bless all these brothers that I'm about to talk about, but there's so many men that I see today. They have, they're hafiz of the Quran, they're showing up to the masjid for Fajr, mashallah, but they're like 400 pounds, bro. Or they don't know how to fight. Or I see them, going out with their wife, and I literally see people pulling up on them and disrespecting them, and they don't do anything. And at the end of the day, we can't have this false pious type of mentality that, oh, just being good means everything, That's what Islam is about. No, Islam's not about that, bro. The youth will never enter Jannah, bro. And those that are weak and let people get oppressed and don't fight in the cause of Allah, what do you think is going to happen to them,
But
bro?
let me stop there for a second, because for a while I used to think the same thing, and I really used to see people that didn't want to learn how to, like, let's say, defend themselves and the people they're with. I used to see them as like useless. Right?
No, I ain't
But, like,
saying
I
that.
really had to think about this and take a step back and realize, look, like, Allah has made us good at different things. Now, as long as they're making the effort, or they have the niyyah, the intention, I think that's all that matters. But I don't know, bro.
I would have to say I disagree to some extent. I agree in principle, but I think as men we should strive the perfect balance. And we're human, bro. We can't be perfect, but we should try to do both. We look at the models that Allah has given us, like the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, the Sahaba radiallahu anhum.
I want you to picture this. Imagine yourself, you're out on the road, you're with your family, you rock up to a petrol station, or a gas station for my American brothers. You rock up to the gas station, to the petrol station, you put fuel in the tank, you put some gas in the tank, you go inside to pay. You pay for the fuel. You come back out, and your wife comes over to you looking very distressed. She's out of the car and she looks quite distressed. And she comes over to you and she says to you, Mahdi, that individual over there, he's inside paying for his petrol now. He just disrespected me. He just violated me. And you ask her how? What did he say? Are you sure he was even talking to you? You clarify the details. You find out. Because women will very quickly sign you up to a fight. You have to be careful, especially if they believe you to be competent. So you find out what the details are. And then you've established the details. Okay, so he was being racist towards you, or he was insulting you. He was swearing at you for no apparent reason. So you go inside the petrol station and you see who this individual is. You approach the gentleman and you see that he's on his phone. He's playing on his phone, or he's doing something on his phone. You snatch the phone out of his hand, you put it in your pocket, and then you grab him by the neck and you force him down into the position of like a dog, like he's your pet, and you hold him there. And then you walk him out like your dog, like your pet dog. You walk him out of the petrol station whilst he's hunched over almost on all fours. And you take him over to your wife and you ask him to repeat what he said to her. And of course, at this point, he's going to deny it. He's going to say he didn't say anything and make all sorts of excuses under the sun. And then at that same time, I want you to continue in your imagination. Just picture this. The people could see that this man was being humiliated to such an extent that his mum had to come over and intervene on his behalf. His mum had to come over and intervene on his behalf and make up all sorts of waffle excuses about how you've got the wrong guy and it's nothing to do with him and so on and so forth. This imaginary example that I have just painted for you is a situation that I have been through precisely the same. And in fact, I was just narrating to you something that I went through myself a couple years ago. My wife was violated, and my wife is not one to pick a fight for me, but still, I need to clarify the details. I need to find out for sure that she is not, misinterpreting or misreading the situation. I went into the petrol station. I grabbed him with my hand like a dog. I took his phone out of his hand, locked it, put it in my pocket, grabbed him like a dog, put him on all fours, and walked him out like he's my pet. and I let him feel the force of my hand just a little bit around his neck. Not enough to really hurt him, but enough for him to know there's no escape from this grip. You're not going anywhere. And then to compound his humiliation, his mother had to come over and save him. Ask yourself this. Do you think the next time that young man, he sees another Muslim woman on the street, do you think he's going to have the confidence to violate her in that same way as he did with my wife? Or do you think he's going to think twice before he does that? What do you think is going to happen? I can tell you as a matter of fact, he's going to think twice. He's going to think, if I violate this Muslim woman, some next man's going to come out of nowhere and do something to me. Maybe even worse than last time. This boy was lucky I gave him his phone back. I was going to break his phone in front of him as punishment, as penance for his sin, for his transgression. But I had mercy on him. I gave him his phone back. I think the humiliation was enough. Sometimes a humiliation actually is worse than a beating. You'd rather take a physical beating as a man than to be humiliated in that way. But now I want to ask yourself this. If you are not in the habit of taking care of your body, your physical health, combat competence, strength, and your wife came up to you, you're someone now who doesn't train, you don't work out, you're not fit, you've got a belly, you're overweight, you're out of shape, you're not strong. And your wife comes up to you and she says to you, this man has just done such and such to me. In the same example that I painted in your mind just now. Are you going to have that same confidence to approach that man like that? Are you? Maybe you will. But let me tell you something. You will not be in the same position of leverage if you had taken care of your body, your combat competence, your strength, your fitness. You will not be in the same position of authority or in the same position of imposing yourself and your will upon him. There's something to be said about energy transfer, by the way. If you've ever come across someone and you can just tell that this man, he's about that life. I need to just tone it down because I don't know what it is, but there's something about this guy that I can't quite put my finger on, but he's about that life. And I do not want to get onto the wrong side of him. All of that energy is transferred and translated and communicated in your body language when you approach somebody. And you will only be able to infect that energy onto the next man when you yourself are rooted in a foundation, and that foundation being of confidence in your own competence. You infect that individual. They can just tell, this boy, wallahi, he didn't move. I was expecting him to try and run away or, I don't know, hit me or something. I didn't hit him. Remember, I had him like my dog, like my pet puppy in my hand, holding him down here like this. I was expecting him to try to move or run away or something. He was whining like a little bitch. It wasn't me. He's got the wrong person. I'm sorry. No, I didn't mean that. Like a pussy, yo. Like a little biatch. And it was very interesting to me because I realized I didn't have to apply any force. I didn't break any laws. I didn't get into trouble with the police. I didn't have to raise a finger. Well, I raised my hand and grabbed him by his neck and pulled him out the dog like the dog he was. Pulled him out of the shop like the dog he was. But I didn't have to do anything. There was not a single scratch on his body. He got his phone back in one piece. And all was well. And he apologized to my wife as well. It was all well and dandy. But if I was unable to transfer that energy into him as a result of the confidence that I had in my own competence, that could have gone differently. Very differently. So yes, as a Muslim or not, it is important to take your health seriously. And by seriously, I don't just mean running on the treadmill a couple of times a week. MashaAllah. No. I want you to train like an athlete. You train like an athlete. You eat like an athlete. You take care of your environment like an athlete. You need to be strong and competent and capable like an athlete.